So, in my personal reflections, as part of my career, I want to share one very important thing, and that is choosing your voice teacher, especially when you're at university. It's very, very important to learn how to do that. So, when you fill out an application form and you choose your teacher, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get that teacher. When you fill it out, you send it in. When you get to the university, you have to still have auditions, and the voice faculty hears you. And then, if they feel that who you chose that you wanted to be under, then they will assign you to that teacher. Otherwise, they would assign you to somebody else. So, how do you choose? And also, this is a tricky one because it is one of the most important artistic decisions a singer will make, especially when they're, going into music school. And if you fill out the application and for school, and then once you get there and you don't get the right teacher, you're stuck with the wrong teacher for a while. And that is not really fun because it may not be the right match for you. So I always advise students that if you can afford it, to visit the university during the school year and see if you can actually observe studio sessions of different teachers. So sit in on different lessons, see how the teacher is working on technique, whether that technique kind of works for you. Also, you can look out and see whether pedagogically, whether how the teacher is instructing, whether you would be able to understand, whether it's clear instruction on various parts of technique. Also, if it is in a studio setting where you have the opportunity to hear singers in that studio, see whether students are supporting each other, or there is competition among them. Competition is healthy, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be mean and that kind of stuff. Also, look at how the teacher chooses repertoire for a particular student's voice, and not choosing really heavy roles for a young student and so forth. At university, you are growing as a singer, and you do get some stage time, but you don't get a lot of stage time. So, the one thing to ask is how many productions are there a year? Are undergraduates cast in those opera productions? Is there a musical theater? Are they able to be cast in that? How many outreach performances are there? All this kind of stuff. And then you think about the compatibility and communication between the student and the teacher. Do you feel, comfortable in that studio during a trial lesson? Were you tense? Did the corrections that the teacher made make sense to you? Or are you feeling clear about the instructions before you leave the studio? Then there is professional networking, and some university teachers are actively connected to opera companies, orchestras, young artist programs, all that kind of stuff. So that is that. But that doesn't mean that you have to only go to that studio, just because that teacher is connected. Connections are not everything. More than important is mentorship. How is that teacher mentoring you? That is what you got to look out for. And then there are certain questions that I think you should ask is, ask the teacher if you have an opportunity, is what is their technical approach? How would they handle passaggio development? How would they choose repertoire for a freshman student? What would they prioritize maybe in the first or 2 years of your studying with them? And also try to find out where their students have gone after they've graduated. Have they been accepted into young artist programs, or have they been hired by opera companies, or do they have an agent? Whatever. Okay, it's very, very important that you know this kind of thing. So this is what I would recommend. You can still do your research on it, but this is what I would say is very important, is that You have to build a technical foundation, so make sure that that teacher is going to do that for you. Be aware of the studio culture, be aware of the repertoire, how the teacher chooses repertoire for students. um, Regarding performance opportunities and connections, teacher, how compatible is the teacher to you, and lastly, mentorship. You want mentorship from the teacher. I hope that helps. These are some of my personal reflections because I went to university, and I'm sharing some of my personal reflections with you. Take care.